All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I just wanted to welcome you guys. This is what, how, and why. Hey, Jeff, could you hit got it on that? Thank you. Um, so this year has been quite different in the real estate market. If this is your first year, you might not know that, but it's definitely different. The last few years has been you sit at a floor desk or your phone rings, you get a listing, you get a sell. That's it. It's been that simple per se to get some money in real estate. And as we have seen, there's what an average of 4 to 6 agents leaving every few minutes in real estate right now. That will continue until the end of the year, then probably the beginning of the year when fees are due again. We don't want our agents to be in that. So this is why we're concentrating on this year. Okay. What is your goal, guys? Who knows what their goal is? Anyone?
Survive.
To provide? Okay, that's a good one. Anyone else want to share theirs? You don't have to. Providing is a good.
Persistency.
Okay, that's good. So the goal is, I don't care what your goal in reality is. I don't care if your goal is to rule the world, and that's really your goal. I don't care if your goal is to make enough money to go on vacations. I don't care if your goal is to go on mission trips around the world because you want to help people. Whatever your goal is, that's your goal. And we're going to talk about that at the end, but keep that in mind right now, okay?
Kim, all right. What can I get started for you today?
Your yearly goal, put down a number.
Okay. And then
whatever you guys want to make.
12-piece nugget
50,000, 100,000, 250,000.
Large, not large fries.
Whatever it is.
Did you need any sauce or condiments? Yes, more of the Chick-fil-A sauce that I'm supposed to have.
All right, everyone have their number down. This is where I want it to be interactive. Now, you're going to see right here, I picked 100,000 just because that's what I typically hear with new agents coming in the field. I want to make 100,000. It could be 250,000, whatever your goal is. And we need to know the average price of homes in your area. Now, this morning, you guys didn't know this, so I want you to take an educated guess if you do not know this. You can look this up on your MLS. Now, Henderson County is about 490,000 as of a couple months ago. So we're going to say 450 just because I went to East High and that's easier math. So if I'm doing this, I'm going to say my goal is 100,000. The average sales price for my county is 450. And that's probably a little closer than it was in a few months ago. Okay. And we're going to multiply the average sales price by 3%. Now, again, in your state, in your office, wherever you guys are at, you might not do 3% in your area. You might do 2.75. I think that's what Lee typically uses for people, or you might do an average of 2.5%. What is ever average commission in your area? That's what you want to use. All right. So if I do that, my average commission that I'm bringing to the office is $13,500 in Henderson County, North Carolina, per se. Okay. You're going to take the average sales price for your county. You're going to times it by your average commission split, 3%, 2.5%, whatever that is that you would get share with another agent. That will give you that. Everyone got it? All right. Then you are going to do your split with your company. Everyone on here has a different split. I can promise you that we have 3 states on here. That means we have 2 different RE/MAX regions on here. We are all going to be very different. because we actually have two different regions. I'm going to say 75%. You could be higher, you could be lower. I just picked that. Doesn't matter. You could be, heck, if you're lucky, you can be 100%. I don't know anyone who really is, but you could be. You could be 65%. You could be whatever yours is fine. You could be 60%. All right. When you do that, if you've ever been preparing for your commission check, you know that's what you're going to be bringing home, the $10,125. So all we did right there was figure out what we're going to make on an average house closing in our county. I know this seems pretty elementary, but there's a reason we're doing this. You would be amazed at how many agents don't know this. All right, so if I sell an average priced house in Henderson County, I can typically expect to bring home $10,125 from my company split. Okay. $10,125. I'm going to take that. I'm going to take my goal, 100,000. I'm going to divide it by what I would make on the average house that sells. So whatever your goal is, 100,000, 250,000, whatever your goal is, I want you to divide that by what your average take-home commission will be. So for me, it's 100,000 divided by 10,000. $125 equals 9.8765. Here's where it gets fun, even if you're not a mathematician. And goodness knows I went to East High, I am not. That means to reach my goal of 100,000 in real estate every year, I only need to sell or have 10 transactions a year that are the average sales price in my county. Now, if I go above that, if I do more luxury stuff, I don't have to sell 10. Maybe I can sell 7. If I sell below the average, maybe I'm going to have to bump that up a little bit to 12, 13, 15, whatever my average is. If you're selling your average houses, that's what you need to sell. If you think about that, there's 12 months a year. 10 seems pretty reasonable. Yes. It gives you 2 months. You're not even having a transaction. Again, depending on your goal, yours is going to be different. This should take some pressure off of some agents. I know people think for me to make 250,000, 200,000, 100,000, I'm going to be working 24/7. I'm not going to be able to breathe, et cetera, et cetera. How do I balance family? How do I do all this? When you break it down to the transactions to meet your personal goal, it seems more attainable. This is the number you will need when you do the business plan for Lee. If you don't know how we do business plans for Lee, we will send them out to the staff. The staff will send it out to the agents. It literally will tell you step by step. Here's this, here's this. So these are the number of transactions you need. We just did that part. The next part comes straight from your head or your data bank. That's simple. We'll go over that later a little bit just so you guys know what to look for. But please remember this number. You will need it to go over a business plan with Lee. And by the way, I highly encourage everyone to do that. If you do not do that, you're really wasting a great opportunity because you'll have his undivided attention. He is doing it on Zoom this year. All right. So now we know we need 10 transactions. Let's say I need 10 transactions a year to get to my goal. But how do I get there? I don't know how to get there. I hear all these things. I go to these classes, but I don't know how to get there. We're going to prospect to get there. The ugly P word that no one likes to use anymore. So prospecting I don't know if you guys know this. If you were around last year, you probably know this. Last year was a little bit of a weird year here. Come Halloween time, our offices literally went vacant and people took a 3-month vacation on a whole. I'm not talking about every agent, but overall, we did not hear a peep out of most agents. They come back mid-January and there is nothing in their pipeline. They did not prospect October, November, December. We ended up doing a listing competition in April, March or April, to help turn things around. They had a great year. They took too much time off. They did not prospect during those months. And it in turn hurt their production this entire year. When I say that, guys, we had people making 6 figures last year who have had 2 closings this year. They simply stopped prospecting. So we do not want that happening to you guys at all. All right. It can seem daunting. The formula I'm going to give you guys allows 45 days of work per year. That means you get 7 weeks off. 7 weeks off. What other job can you work at that you get 7 full weeks off? Right? You can go to the Caribbean, turn your phone off, 7 weeks. Hopefully not all at one time. I highly suggest you don't take 7 weeks off, but life happens, you know?
I like that
People
plan.
get I like the plan too. This is why I like this plan, because it's a real life plan. People get sick, kids get sick, people get married, they go on vacation, they go on honeymoons, people get divorced. Things happen. You know, you have Christmases, you have Thanksgivings out of town, you have graduations. This makes real estate work. This is why most of us got in real estate, right? We want our time. But then we feel guilty when we have our time off. So 7 weeks you can take off and not even worry about it. Again, I don't suggest 7 weeks, but you could. And this is the formula we're going by. I did not make this up in my head. I promise you. You don't need to look at those numbers. I've done everything for you. But this is tried and true. This is how we're going to get results. So I'm going to ask and challenge everyone on this call and everyone in the company for 5 days a week that you contact 10 people a day. Not too hard, right? We're not doing that 100 calls a day. You know, remember back when they used to say, make 100 calls a day, do this, do that. We're going to say that they're dials, but just know when I'm saying this, I mean, you can call them, you can host an open house and meet people. You can go door knocking. You can walk through your neighborhood. I'm talking about interactions. Just for ease of it, I put dials because a lot of people understand phone calls. I don't care how you make these contacts. Do 10 a day. Go to a baseball game. And by the way, open houses have become very popular again. We are hearing where people are having open houses and they're getting 20 couples in. That's 40 contacts. You only have to do 50 a week. They got it in 2 hours. All right. If we do this, that means we will have, and again, I put it as dials, but put door knocking in there, you know, prospecting, however you want to put it. 200.
Christy,
Yes.
excuse me for a second. When you say dials, that mean actually talking to a human being or actually dialing a phone?
That means you're actually going to be attempting dialing a phone.
Okay. All right.
Going, knocking on a door, and maybe they don't answer.
Okay.
Something maybe you're not getting results from. You go door knocking, you have a neighborhood of 25, maybe 5 people answer, but you went to 25 homes, you get credit for that 25. You only 5 people answered the door, right? You only talked to 5 of them. So but that will be 2,250 people you've tried to reach that year. So if you do that 50 a week for 45 weeks, that's what it is, 2,250. Now we know response rate's going to be about 15%. I put a big old boo there because that sucks. You know, people come to your door at night, you're like, oh, who are they? They're not Amazon. I'm not answering. I'm not going to answer the door. Maybe it's a real estate agent trying to door knock. They're not going to answer, right? Maybe you pick up the phone and dial someone for an open house. They don't answer. You leave a message, whatever. But 15% of those people are guaranteed, no matter what, you're going to get a hold of them. Face to face, voice to voice, you're going to get them. It doesn't matter how bad you are with this, it's going to happen. This is what's great about this plan. You can completely start this plan and be awful at it. Now, we hope you're not, but you can be. And that's okay. Go out there and make mistakes. It's how you learn. All right. So that means in a year, you will have talked to 338 people. Doesn't seem like a lot. That's a lot. That's 338 people you have had face-to-face, voice-to-voice contact with, telling them that you're in real estate. Now, remember, when we're telling people we're in real estate, we're not hounding them. Hey, I want to list your house. You could, but you want to know if they know of anyone that's looking to buy or sell, right? Because we know at least every person knows 5 people looking to buy or sell at any time. They may not think of it right off the top of their head, but they know 5 people. Maybe you have a talk with them. They go back home and go, oh my gosh, I totally forgot my best friend's looking for a house, right? Now your set rate. This is how you will set your appointments. And this is where you make the difference and your skill set makes the difference. If you are starting out in the business, and or when I say business, either starting out in real estate or starting out with prospecting. So please understand, if you've never prospected and you were one of those people it was great. People were rolling in the dough the last few years. You took floor, you got calls on listings, you were getting money, and you really didn't do much to do it. And that's great. It was just the type of year. Wonderful. But you're just starting out with prospecting. We're going to say you're going to have a 7.5% set rate for an appointment. That's okay. That's not too shabby. Again, you're starting out. You could be stumbling over your words. You're still going to get that. If you've been in the business, if you've been prospecting, you're pretty good at it. You're efficient with it. We're going to say you're going to have 12.5% set rates. Right? You know a little bit more of the talk. You're a little bit more at ease. You can answer the questions a little bit easier. You know, there's not a lot that's going to be surprising you. You're comfortable with it. And then you're experienced at this craft. If you've been prospecting solidly, you're proficient at it, you can talk to someone and bang, they're probably going to list with you. You just have that swagger about you. Your set rate's going to probably be about 20%. I did not make these up, by the way. These are actually the true things. I didn't make these up. All right. So even if you're starting out and you are not great at it, guys, 10 people a day, 5 days a week, you're going to get 25 appointments. If you've been in the business, you're pretty efficient at it. You've been prospecting for a while, you're a little bit more comfortable with it, you're going to get 42 appointments. If you got that swagger going on, you guys are just experienced at this, you love prospecting, the P word does not scare you, you think it's fun, people are at ease with you, you're going to get 68. It's the same 10 people. Nothing else changes except for you and you're comfortable and you being comfortable. That's it. Same 10 people. Now we know in the world, everyone's going to cancel at some point, right? They just do. It sucks. You can get so excited about it. People are going to cancel. Stuff happens. Life happens. Maybe they're sick. Maybe they said yes because they were pressured. They talked to their husband or wife and all of a sudden, yeah, we're not doing this. Here's our percentages of how many are going to cancel. Starting out, you're going to have a higher percentage. If you're very experienced in it and proficient, you're going to have a lower percentage. Don't take it personal. Everyone gets canceled on. Again, it's how you handle yourself with this. So you are actually going to be meeting with a minimum of 18 people brand new, starting out, stumbling over your words, but you are contacting 10 people a day, 5 days a week for 45 weeks. You're guaranteed pretty much to have 18 appointments. As you get more efficient in the business, 34. As you get more proficient, you're going to get 61. No difference in contacting those 10 people. The first contact will be the hardest. It will get easier after that. I tell you, the last time I door knocked, I took my niece with me, and we literally went to a neighborhood that went uphill both ways. I didn't think those existed, and they did. And I wore the wrong shoes. It was awful. And she looked at me and said, I hate this. But I was like, you're so cute. You have to go with me. At the end of the day, she thought it was fun, got ice cream, and she helped me run through very long yards of people who were not home. All right, your conversion rate. Again, this is going to be up to you. Your conversion rate, you're starting out with prospecting, you're not comfortable, you're tripping over your words, your hands are sweating, maybe you have knocked over some plants on your way to the door, whatever. You hung up on people on accident. It happens, it's life. Let's say you only get 50% of them to convert into a listing or a buyer that goes through. As you get more proficient in it, go up to 70%, 85%. As you see, we're not giving anyone 100%. And that includes Lee Linhart. We would not give him 100%, right? Because we're putting people's likes, dislikes, and human errors into all of this. Your total listings and or transactions. Starting out, you're going to get 9 listings or transactions, however you want to do it. Maybe you focus more on buyers, put buying in there, whatever. As you get more used to it, you start liking things better. It's a little bit more easy. It's flowing. You find your niche, 24 out of it. As you continue to grow more in it, it becomes second nature to you, 52. How many of you could deal with 52 transactions a year at the average rate of what's selling? Pretty good income. Now, this sales percentage, we are using a national-based sales percentage. I don't know if in our market, if you list a house, you've got a pretty much of a 90%, 99% chance of selling it in our market. But again, we're going on the low rate. I don't want to overpromise to anyone. I don't know what all your markets are like. We're going to be fair, say 50%. They're assuming you're going to get a listing, you're going to get a buyer, and you are going to completely bumble it. You're going to close on half of them. As you've been in the business longer, 67%. As you're more proficient, 90%. Again, clearly this formula does not believe a whole lot in the ability of new agents, but it's great to see that literally you could go out, not have a script, not know what you're doing, and you're still going to make money because you're reaching out when other people aren't. Which means you are going to sell 5 people, not having a clue what you're doing, not having scripts, having your first year out prospecting simply because you contacted 10 people a day. If you've been in the business longer, 16 transactions. If you've been in the business, you're proficient, you're used to prospecting, this is nothing new to you. You're like, I've done this for years, Christy. You're going to get more. You're going to get 47 sales. So what do we care about? Well, there's the money to it. Starting out, new agents. And when I say new agents, I also mean agents who have not been prospecting. New agents to prospecting, $50,625 just from contacting 10 people a day. If you've been in the business, you're pretty efficient at it. You've done some prospecting, maybe not great at it, but you're working up to it, $162,000. If you've got this craft down, you're proficient at it, you have a little swagger to you, people are comfortable with you, $475,875. Would anyone mind making that much money taking 7 weeks off a year, working 5 days a week, contacting 10 people a day? Not as hard as what people think. When people say they prospect, Doesn't mean they're contacting 100 people a day. It's not the olden days of cold calling. When I send out the next plan, or when I send it out and the staff member sends it out, all that, please do this plan. The plan will go into more depth. This is what I want you guys to talk to Lee about. It's actually going to ask you how many people are in your sphere, how many people are in your network. If you do not know that, start figuring it out. One thing we figured out as we were going over all this, on a company whole, on several counties as a whole, agents are not using their sphere of influence. If they have a list, they're not using it. Maybe they don't have a list. We're not quite sure where the fallout is. It is honestly going to be consistent contacting your sphere. And that's what the sheet you're going to go over with Lee is going to show you. It may seem a little ridiculous, but when you go through this formula and then you go through what you have with Lee, it's very blatantly blaring to you. It's probably your prospecting that's missing. And maybe yours is something different, but as a whole, it is. I can probably only name a handful of people in our offices, all of them, who I can say prospect regularly, and they have the numbers to show for it. So now the fun part. What is your why? Be honest with yourself, because your why is what's going to be keeping you going. And don't put down money. Money is usually not the true answer. It could be generational wealth, right? It could be, I want to take vacations. It could be something totally that sounds so selfish and egotistical, like I literally want to prove Bob Smith wrong. He said I sucked, and I'm going to prove him wrong that I do not suck. I don't care what your why is. Maybe your mom or dad said you couldn't do this. What is your why? But you got to be honest with yourself, because you're not going to share this with anyone. It's what your why is for you.
I hate that question.
Yep.
I could never figure it out.
You can't figure it out?
I've never been able to figure that out. I even read that book. I listened to it. What is your why, or something like that?
If you got, let's say you made, and I don't know what your income is, but let's say you made 500,000 a year. That was your take home. In your head, what would you do with that money? What would it allow you to do?
Plan for retirement.
That's a great why.
I'm way behind.
I hear that more than you would believe. A lot of people in real estate do not have retirements. I got some yes in this building. And people not having retirements is terrifying. The older you get, the more you're like, oh, I didn't plan that well at all. That's a great why. It's got to be something that's going to keep you going every day. So when things get hard, when you're working with Brick Cox and he has just messed up everything you've done, I'm totally kidding. He was in our Henderson office, but he can take being picked on. And you're just like, I'm going to kill him. I never want to do another deal again. This is what your why is going to be. Nope. Even though I never want to work with Brick again, this is going to help me get to buy an investment property that'll get me to retirement. And I have seen in real life people whose family came in and took over everything because they put them as guardians. They had investment property, and that is how they paid for their independent living. Because they did not take over 3 of her investment properties, and that's what she lived off of. The family stole all of her money and could care less. That is what she did. That was the only thing they didn't have control over, and she was able to live on that for years. All right, guys, I know that was very quick. Does anyone have any questions? I am more than happy to send out the sheet that I showed you in the middle of the slide that actually says the financial consequences, and you guys actually do this yourself. what I wanted to show you is it is truly not that hard to get out there and to make money in real estate. It is simply coming down to, are you prospecting? Are you doing what you need to do on a consistent, regular basis? Don't do it one week and then fall off for 15 weeks and pick it back up. Are you really doing what you need to do? Because if you are, there is no way you cannot come out making minimum $50,000 in real estate. Minimum. And that is not even working any programs or anything like that. And as you will see with your business planning guide with Lee, how much easier that's going to actually break down and get. Because we're going to actually use your number of your network.
Christy, I have a question.
Yes.
Can you email me this recording when we're finished and the sheets that you're talking about?
I sure can.
Thank you.
We do this program with every new agent. Now, I know when you go through new agent training, it's like drinking from a fire hose, to put it simply. And we always go with the lowest amount because they're new, you know, prospecting, they're getting the list together, all that. But really, truly, this works. You just have to get your plan in place. You got to have your lists. So for the rest of this year, I want everyone to work on their lists of their network. If you do not have your sphere of influence list, get it together. If you do not know how to get it together, please contact me or one of your office staffs. We can send you how to get that list together. If you do not know who to put in there, think about where you get your hair done. Where do you get your nails done? Where do you go to church? Where do you go to worship, to the synagogue? Where do your kids play sports? Is there a PTO you're involved with, a reading group you're involved with, Bible study? All these people are in your network, but do they know you're in real estate? If the answer is you're around these people and they know you're not, they don't know, you're not sure if they know you're in real estate, they need to be in your network. Your people should know you're in real estate. Maybe you go to the gym every morning and you talk to the same 20 people. Put them down. People love to refer to people they know and trust. And people love to do business with agents that have been referred to them by someone they know and trust. Think about it. If you refer out a lender and the lender is absolutely awful and you get a bunch of complaints about it, are you going to refer that lender out again? Probably not. But if you trust that lender and the lender is good at keeping up with you, you'll keep referring to them. You got to stay consistent in their minds. So when we talk about going back to basics, it's prospecting, guys. I see it every day in a bunch of the offices, and I don't just mean our offices, I mean even competitors. People are not prospecting. And I do know Lee is walking up to agents and asking them how many people have they contacted that day. He's asking that for a reason. And please don't be one of the people who say, no one, I don't know what you're talking about. Because then he comes to me and goes, what the crap are you teaching them? Like, someone did that last week. And I was like, I failed. And they've been in 2 of my new agent training classes. So I actually called them and said, please don't say that anymore. Start contacting people. All right. Any questions? Does this help break things down a little bit more systematically than someone saying, go out and prospect?
Yes.
10 contacts a day can change your world.
And Tracy, I need to work on my list.
Yes, you
Yes.
do.
Please work on your list.
I got a
It
few hours
is
to do that.
really, truly as simple as that. Now, if you want to do more, do more. But we're not challenging you guys to do more. 10 people a day. I mean, you can talk them if you're talking at the grocery store, talk to them. You go to a ball game, you might talk to 10 people right there. Unless you're in my town and you sit with a bunch of agents, and then that's not going to happen because they're all going to be like, Or try if you go to a ball game not to sit around agents at every single game. Either way. It's actually fun to prospect. I don't care how y'all do it. I don't care if you dial. I don't care if you door knock. I don't care if however you want to do it, however works for you. If you want to do open houses. There's a guy that works with Wayne Frederick. He got out of real estate, decided he was going to come back into it. And he said, I cannot work 7 days a week, 15-hour days anymore. I will not do it or I'll leave real estate again. He hired Wayne. He said, I'm working tops 3 days a week, maybe 4 if a contract's running. But I'm going to work the days agents are never around, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, if I have to, Monday. He does open houses all weekend. He does a minimum of 4. That's it. He does not work Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, ever. Sometimes he doesn't even work Fridays or Mondays. He makes over $200,000 a year. Because when he does his open houses, he does them right. He invites the neighbors. He door knocks. He holds out a big whole shebang for the open houses. And that's how he gets his clients. So think outside the box. We don't care how you do it. If you need ideas, feel free to contact any staff member or me. That's perfectly fine. If you don't have my number and you need it, it is 828-838-0800. And if I call back and it says Hickory, it is me. And how I got a Hickory number, I have absolutely no idea. I have never been to Hickory in my life. But for some reason, I have that number. I figured out that's why a lot of people never answer my calls. I have no idea why I got that number. But, all right, guys. If you want these sheets, please text me. Let me know. I will happily, Tracy, I'll send you a bunch of stuff. I will happily send this stuff out to any one of you guys. It is not top secret. It is a formula that has been used for years and years. It is coming back because prospecting is back. All right, guys. Hope you guys learned something. Talk to you later. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. It was awesome.
Thank you.